Morning, everyone. It's sad in heart, that we have to have a press conference of one of my employees who has been arrested for drugs and smuggling into the jail. We try very hard here to hire the best people and move forward. And every now and again you get a bad egg. As you can see behind me, the young lady has been charged with numerous counts of drugs and everything, and her cohort, Mr. Wade, was the supplier of it, my understanding, and then you got two other people that's pending charges on it. This lady's been here about 8 months, made plenty of money, and I don't know what her logic was behind it to take money to smuggle stuff into the jail. When you do that, it puts the rest of my officers in a bad position. What she had was fentanyl, and as you all know, it's a substance you can touch and without even knowing it, and then you can die from it, So I don't know what her logic was behind it to take what little bit of money she got to do it with. So again, today is just a sad day at the Chatham County Sheriff's Office, but we'll continue to move forward, and it has no reflect on the officers that are working here now or anything. We're going to continue our investigation to see where else this thing goes to. I can't say enough to three of my people, Corporal Myers, Corporal Lamb, and who? Millage, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Also to C&T for the Director Sarhat and Captain Flood, who helped us out on this thing too. They did an excellent job with what they do, and as I said 1,000 times, we got a lot of cameras around here, audio and video, and we monitor our cell phones, we monitor the kiosks. And this is how it happened, that we got onto this case, and with all the help of those three and C&T, I think we've done a great job to combat something coming into this jail.
Has it happened before?
I beg your pardon?
Has it happened before?
It's happened before, yes, and it's probably going to continue to happen, but we'll continue to stay on top of it, But nothing this major has ever happened before.
I guess what kind of precaution can you guys take to not try to prevent this from happening again?
Well, we're going to take all the precautions we can. We went back and revisited some of our techniques that we use for people coming in and out of the jail, and we'll move forward with that. My chief deputy, Chief Taylor's already been working on that. I was out of town when all this was going on. I was in Atlanta in school for 4 days, but you always try to make everything better when you have an instance like this.
Confident are you that it was one officer and not possibly widespread?
Well, we conclude right now that it's just one officer, and as our investigation goes on, it's still an ongoing investigation. We don't know where it might turn up. It might turn up with somebody else. I'm not going to say it won't, and I'm not going to say it will, but we hope not.
I guess, was it an instance where you just come in and hand the drugs off, or was it smuggled in? Like, how was it the transaction actually taking place?
Well, what we have found out in the investigation we've done a little bit is she was bringing it in a styrofoam cup wrapped in cellophane and everything with ice on top of it is one of the ways that I heard. Like I said, I'm going to let my chief deputy talk to you about that, and C&T, Michael Sarhat, because I was out of town and I wasn't here when all this was going on.
Okay. We can have the Chief Deputy come up, introduce himself, and answer questions.
How y'all doing? Chief Deputy Gary Taylor, G-A-R-Y-T-A-Y-L-O-R. All I have to say is just this. This is an ongoing investigation. It's still fluid. I want to speak today specifically to 3 groups of people, and really 4 groups of people. This investigation started on December the 21st through a tip that our Criminal Investigation Division received. Our Criminal Investigation Division being made up of Intel Officer Corporal Myers and Corporal Lamb. They worked relentlessly, and when I say relentlessly, they worked hours, weekends, nights, days. They worked and worked and worked, putting this information together, tying everything up and putting together in this investigation, and getting to a certain point where a phone call was made to the County Counter Narcotics Team, C&T, which is headed up by Director Sarhat and Captain Dan Flood, who without their support, without their resources, and their relentlessness, we wouldn't have come to this conclusion that we did day before yesterday. The sad part that the sheriff talks about is this particular correction officer, what she did, the actions that she took, it affects several different things. One, it tarnishes the badge. It tarnishes the oath of office in which she swore an oath to. It tarnishes it for this agency. It puts other employees in this agency. It puts their safety at risk. And it also puts the inmates that are entrusted with their safety while they're being housed here. It also puts them at risk as well. And that's something that the sheriff takes in account. He takes very serious when it comes to the safety of not only employees of this organization, but the inmates that's entrusted in for us to take care of as well. I want to commend our Criminal Investigation Division. I want to commend the C&T because the seamlessness that they worked together, the process that they went through on this, you know, just getting this case from the 21st and putting it together, and you can see some of the players that's involved in this behind me here. By no means is this investigation over. Like I said, a lot of the work is still ahead of them, but this is an end result of a rogue correction officer with wrong influences in her life, the cooperation and collaboration between the Chatham County Sheriff's Office and C&T, when they put it together with the expertise that we have standing behind me right here, what can be done. And it is the sheriff, he sums it up very good when he says it's a sad day. We do not take pleasure in this. We will take a harder look at ourselves, and we will look at what we're doing moving forward and what we can put in place, what type of safety measures we can put in place to keep this from happening. Will it ever happen again? We hope it won't. Will it? Probably it will. So it's, like I said, it's a sad day. And let's also be honest about this too. We can't incarcerate ourselves out of drug abuse and substance abuse in this country. There has to be many levels of what we try to accomplish to overcome this. With that, the aggravating nature here of one of the items that was being smuggled into jail was fentanyl. Director Sarhat will probably address that a little bit here, or what we're dealing with in Chatham County and this region of the country and across the whole country when we start talking about the pandemic of what we're dealing with fentanyl in this country right now.
Just one question for you. With this arrest, what do you want people to take from this moving forward as far as thinking about doing something such as this?
Well, we want it to be a deterrent. We want it to be a deterrent, but by no means do I want it to represent the good men and women that represent this organization who is presently at work right now in this facility, in this organization, that represents the Chatham County Sheriff's Office. This one bad apple does not represent the employees of this organization. We have some of the most amazing employees in the world working right here at the Chatham County Sheriff's Office, and I'm proud of them. When I say we got tips, those tips came from other employees. Other employees was providing us with tips with what was going on. That speaks volumes that we have other employees that's speaking up, seeing something that doesn't just seem right, something that's not within protocol or the policies and procedures of what we have here. It's not representative of the Chatham County Sheriff's Office. And you know, some of the tips that we got came from actual other employees, and I admire our employees for doing that. And it doesn't represent us here at the Chatham County Sheriff's Office as one individual.
Can you speak to the protective custody?
The protective custody, I think there's been some questions in relation to Ms. Bennett being in protective custody. She was a sworn correction officer who's housed in a facility that she was just working in 8 hours prior to her arrest. So the sheriff, he has a duty now to take care of her and look out after her for her well-being and her safety. So we put her in protective custody because now she went from 8 hours working in here to being in here and being incarcerated. So the sheriff took the measures that he felt is necessary to ensure her safety, and that's simply why she's in protective custody. No other reason but her own safety.
I have to ask an uncomfortable question. This is the Sheriff's Department investigating the Sheriff's Department. Can you speak to any potential conflicts of interest or why there won't be conflicts of interest?
Well, there won't be conflicts of interest because this was the Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division investigating an incident, investigating wrongdoing, with the close overview, overwatch with CNT, who specializes in this type of thing. By no means are we experts in drug investigations, in any aspect of drug investigations. We know that, we recognize that. That's why we call the experts in. That's why we made the phone call to Mr. Mike Sarhat, the director of CNT, who are the experts that came in and helped us. Okay?
Any other questions? Okay, Director Sarhat.
Good morning. Mike Sarhat. The last is S-A-R-H-A-T-T, the director of the Chatham Savannah Counter-Narcotics team. As you've heard, everybody seems, it's a sad day. I kind of look at it a little bit differently from the standpoint that the takeaway here is that the Criminal Investigative Unit here at Chatham County, they developed this investigation from the ground floor. They acted on it, and once that investigation left the grounds, left the complex, they contacted us. We worked very closely with them. So this was an internal investigation. To go back to your question, this investigation started and really was built up by that unit right there. And so as much as this is a sad day, this is a very proud day to be able to say that internally it all worked. Okay? So, the scary part about what was being smuggled in was fentanyl. Okay? So today is January 12th. My overdose death investigators, as of last night, have responded to 16 overdoses since January 1. Of those 16, 7 are fatal. So here we sit on the 12th, and we have 7 fatal overdose deaths. That number is skyrocketing across the country. That is no revelation to everybody. We all know it's out there, and that was why we had to put this into hyperspeed, this investigation. Those drugs could have come in here, and at a minimum, if one of the inmates was using it, they could have passed away. But those drugs could have also been used as a weapon. Some of these inmates, they may have not liked the guards, and they could have put something on that. And so not only were we trying to keep the inmates safe, but we were also trying to keep the Sheriff's Department employees safe, that they have a very difficult job in here. So my big takeaway on this is that the system worked, and everybody should be proud of the system that the Sheriff's Department put in place. And once it left those grounds, they contacted us, and we brought all the resources to bear, and we have a successful, I'm not going to say conclusion, because the case is ongoing. Thank you.